Late second quarter, Tua under pressure, rolling, goes down, carted off the field, Acho, with what they're calling a right hip injury.
That's tough to watch.
It is, Ach, and here's the deal. The kid, he's so tough, and he has such a desire to play. At some point, though, you have to protect a player from himself.
Yes.
And it's obvious when you watch him play that he's not 100%. We know that he's going to try to extend plays. We know that he's a competitor. And sometimes, and listen, I'm not preaching Nick Saban. Who the heck can do that? But I'm just saying you have to protect a guy like that from himself at times. This is sad. This is sad to see.
There are multiple ways to look at it. As a player, KC, I'm hurt because I hate watching players suffer. I know what kind of pain this is. We've all been carried off the field, carted off the field. But then, Coach, I don't know that Nick Saban's greatness or national titles give him a bye from criticism here. They say that Tua talked him into going back in, but you're up by 28 against Mississippi State. Tua's already 14 for 18. I guess at that point in time, 14 for 17. You're up by 28 against a team you're going to dominate. Why is Tua in the football game?
It's an interesting question. Let me just give you the counterpoint, and it's not that I'm endorsing this counterpoint. I'll just give it to you. Is there are some coaches that believe that if you're going to treat your quarterback differently than you treat other players on your team, you could cause some dissension. I've worked with a guy like that who said if you're going to, he was an offensive line coach, he said if you're going to take the starting quarterback out, then take the 5 starting offensive linemen out. Now, I didn't agree with that.
Yep.
It's a different position. And he's a different type of guy. He is a difference maker. So, and I'm not saying that's what Nick thinks, but there is that type of attitude that sometimes permeate teams, and I don't agree with.
But that's what kills me. And obviously he must have been an offensive line coach because, like you said, Tua's special. Tua's special. I understand that me as a former linebacker, I don't get the same credit or praise as a quarterback. Tua should not be in that game up by 28 against a Mississippi State team when you already know he's hobbled. Now you look at him depressed. He might have had a nosebleed, just totally beat up on the football field getting carted.
You know what? Here's the thing, Archie, and I think you're so right, is that a healthy Tua may have been able to get away from that rush.
Yes.
But a Tua with an injured ankle, he didn't have the burst of speed to get away from the rush. Thus, he's in, harm's way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are wondering why even play Tua in this game.
Should Tua have even been playing against Mississippi?
I think so, but I think that Nick Saban should have stuck with his first instinct and taken Tua out of the game at the end of the half when they're up 35-7. At that point, the game's in hand. Mississippi State only has 83 total yards of offense at this point. Now, it's a tough situation because it did look like his star player Tua went over and spoke to him, wanted to stay in for a 2-minute drill. But you got to remember, Tua was a game-time decision to begin with. So it's a blessing. At this point, with 3 minutes to go in the first half, Tua was still doing okay, still looked healthy enough. I think at this point, if you're Nick Saban, you have to understand you need this guy to try to make the playoff. He should have taken Tua out of the game.
I do understand letting the quarterback stand for a 2-minute situation because you try to practice those, but there is nothing that you can practice that is similar to a 2-minute situation with your quarterback. Of course, he's having a great half. They're winning the game. But those are moments in games when coaches say, this is rare opportunity to let my quarterback operate in a 2-minute. I understand it.
I guess, how many more 2 minutes, though, does Tua need, though?
Well, there's
he's had an entire year last year. And
here's my thing.
But if you're talking about practicing, then practicing, it would be like, then how much practice does Tua need? We all need more practice.
But not when you're not 100%,
it is
though.
There you go.
But not when you're not. If he's 100% healthy,
if they're saying it's a game-time decision and they decide to let him play at that stage, they are saying he's ready to go. And if he's ready to go and you have an opportunity to go 2-minute, I fully understand that.
But it's easy to go revisionist history here now because he's injured. But for the past 2 weeks, this player's coming off an ankle surgery.
Yes.
And for the past 2 weeks, he's been a game-time decision.
Yeah. And they decided to let him play.
What ultimately did you take for this game?
I mean, the discussion, as we mentioned a second ago, is going to be, should Tua have been playing at all after the way he looked last week after the LSU game? If he was to play when you're up by 4 touchdowns in the late second quarter, do you take him out? There was some debate about whether the fact Mac Jones was warming up at that point.
Should he have played the game?
If he's healthy, and you and I don't know that. The only people that know that are the medical staff, Tua, and the coaching staff. Let's take a look at what was going on. It looked like Tua was trying to talk Coach Saban into letting him back into the game as there was some decision, looked like some decision on the field to let Mac Jones go in late in the second quarter. Coach Saban did say that he did allow Tua to go back in to work on the little 2-minute situation. But my question is, BB, how much do you need if you're Tua Tagovailoa to work on the 2-minute? Your offense is basically 2-minute for the entire game.
Yeah, but Barrett Jones played for Nick Saban, right? Understands the process as good as anyone. He just had a tweet a couple of minutes ago that was great, saying you can't say that the process about getting better in every single play, every single rep in the weight room, and not say it's great. He should be pulled right before 2-minute drill. Like, that is part of the process that we celebrate with Saban and these guys making it to the next level.
I can guarantee you there was a plan going into the game to say, hey, when we get up by this many points with this time left, we're going to try to move on. I mean, I think even the interesting part was prior to the game, just minutes before, there were a lot of folks that were reporting that Mac Jones was going to start. So it seemed there was some indecision all day long on who to play and how much to play them.
I don't think that there was a doubt, Raul, and it was talked about on ESPN. We've talked about it on our show. There needed to be a no-doubt factor for Alabama to impress the College Football Playoff Committee. How much do you think that played into the role of keeping Tua late into this game and not even playing?
Well, you mentioned it earlier. Alabama with their 90th consecutive victory over unranked opponents. They never play down to the level of competition. Coming off that disappointing loss last week to LSU, they came out focused. First drive, they go right down the field offensively. The defense intercepts Tommy Stevens on the first play of Mississippi State's day, and so the route was on at that point in time. I think Alabama is Alabama because they are able to play to the level of expectation of their own team and not to everybody else.
Yeah, hindsight's going to be 20/20. I think we can all agree that we figured that Tua would play at least a half if he was healthy. And sure enough, he was healthy enough. It was just a freak play that could have happened on the first drive.
It wasn't like he re-injured that ankle. That was a freak injury, as you mentioned. He's going down. He's on his knee. The weight of two defenders falls on top of him. Very hard to watch if you're watching it as a fan here. But I think the thing to worry about is what Coach Saban said. It appears to be a serious injury.
It wasn't just Tua, though, as well. Raekwon Davis was spotted. Aaron Suttles, the Athletic, tweeted out a picture in a walking boot afterwards. That's serious. Ruggs got banged up.
Maybe the precaution of not playing him in the second quarter when they're in control here. We were wondering why we weren't seeing Mac Jones in the second quarter when they had the big lead.
Yeah, but I do understand where Saban is coming from. He had the big lead, and you heard what Saban said. It was going to be practice for him to do the 2-minute drill, and there's no better way for him to get those reps than to do it in the game, and unfortunately, he got hurt right before.
It really is too bad because it changes the dynamic of that offense, but I understand with limited reps the last couple of weeks due to that ankle injury and the surgery, get him a couple extra reps. I don't know. The timing of it is
It's
really
not
tough.
necessarily a bad thing. I hear what you're saying, Kev, that get him off the field. There's no reason to be in there. But to practice a 2-minute drill live against another opponent.
It's a fair point also with the break. He had 3 weeks in between, a little rusty in the LSU game. Get him the reps there because they got Western Carolina next and then, of course, the Iron Bowl with Auburn. But with the history of the injuries and the concern with those two ankles, that's why I brought it up, right?
I agree with you. Now you start to wonder, is he a little fragile, right?
Yes.
Injury prone.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.